Well, welcome back to Smiles Per Mile. My name is Josh. First off, thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting this channel. So today's episode is we are going to revisit this book, The A to Z of VW-based buggies since 1964. I'm mainly bringing your attention or anyone's attention to this book because one of the main questions I had as a dune buggy owner is who manufactured my dune buggy body? So all of the information today is coming from this book. I'm going to discuss the aesthetics of many of the dune buggies and maybe a little bit of the function. I don't have any practical experience with any of these dune buggies. I can't tell you if the fiberglass is better or worse than any other dune buggy. I'm judging by the look of what's in this book and the pictures in this book. I just thought it was interesting on how many different dune buggy variations there are. The story of the dune buggy starts and ends with Bruce Myers and the Myers-Manx, period. It is, in my opinion, the best looking dune buggy ever made. So that to me is a 10. So as I'm going through this, I was kind of rating these buggies and I'm thinking like, so if it looks like a Myers-Manx, in my opinion, it's good looking because that's the best looking dune buggy. At the same time, it's a copycat. It's not its own thing. It's not original. They just copied it and changed a few little things. Usually it's in the tail section. To a lot of the Myers-Manx clones, the back end of the buggy is a little bit different. Oftentimes the dash is different, and there's a few slight variations. Some of them are very different. Although I give them credit for originality and taking a different path, they're usually kind of ugly, in my opinion. There's a lot of ugly dune buggies. This is just my opinion, and I'm going by aesthetics. It might be the best dune buggy ever made, and you love it to death, and I'm here on a YouTube video trashing it and making fun of it. I don't mean to offend you. This is just what I think looks cool. And again, Bruce Myers got it right. His design as he went through the process and perfected it and shaped it, being an artist. He was an artist. And I'm not saying some of the other manufacturers weren't artists, but he was the Picasso of dune buggies. He really was. And for fiberglass dune buggies, he thought of it. He originated it. So all the credit goes to Bruce Myers and his vision. And I know I'm talking about clones and people that kind of took from him and didn't give him his due, which he should have gotten. So it's kind of a bittersweet subject, but I couldn't help myself. I love 60s and 70s crazy radical designs, the Ed Roth, the spacey T-buckets, and any, all of the wild fiberglass stuff that was coming out. And I mean, it really goes back to the 50s. But even inspired by like a lot of Hollywood, the Addams Family car, there's so many, iconic, really creative, special cars that, took it to another level. I love show cars. I love the creativity. So as I go through the book, I started to notice that I really liked all the really weird stuff also. So I love the Myers-Manx because that is the quintessential dune buggy. It just looks right? That's how it should look. So then I judge everything compared to that. I'm like, that's crazy looking. That's wild. That's weird looking or whatever. It missed the mark because it doesn't look like a Myers-Manx. Well, some of them weren't trying to be a Myers-Manx. They were trying to do their own thing, and I commend them for that. My dune buggy is not a Myers-Manx, and I wish it was, and I can tell you every little part that I don't like because it gets away from Bruce's design. Just Bruce made the best looking, most aesthetically pleasing dune buggy design. I'm gonna rate some of these buggies. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Based on aesthetics or functionality, and just give you my opinion about all of the different manufacturers' dune buggies that is in this book. And again, there might be more, and I might get some of this wrong. I'm just gonna kind of give you the pertinent information, what country of origin, where it might have been exported. It's meant to be just helpful. My plan is to go through all of the manufacturers that are in the book. Let's get to it. This is the Albar S, and the S was produced from 71 through 94, and the ES was from 83 through 86. Approximately 400 S's were built and only 10 ES's were built. And it says Switzerland and Austria were the markets. It is an odd looking buggy. It is very flat looking. Aesthetically, this is like a 2. Moving on to Apal. This is another from the UK. Approximately 60 were built. The export markets were Spain, France, Germany, and Norway. This is a 94.5 inch wheelbase. Aesthetically, it's like a 2 or a 3. I don't really care for it. The Baja GT and Sahara. This is an extremely odd looking dune buggy. It has a very rectangular front end with odd headlights. This was built from 1970 to 1987. 55 approximately Baja GTs, and the Saharas, only 8 were built. Export markets were none, so these were stayed in Great Britain. Isn't that cool looking? George Barris, the world famous designer, has one in here listed called the Barris T. Numbers built says unknown. They do not look like the Manx. They are their own thing. They are wild looking. These were built from 1969 to 1971. If you don't know about George Barris, he's amazing. They're definitely funky looking and very creative and very 70s. Yeah, that looks very Barris-esque, right? It just, you see that and you're like, that looks like something George Barris made. Well, it was. Moving on, the Barry Mini T from 1969 to 1971. Numbers built is unknown. Export markets was Belgium. The Mini T was an 80-inch wheelbase, and the Mini T4 is 94.5 inches. They look like a Model T. They look similar to the Barris car. It does not look like a Manx, so you get credit for creativity. I dig it. Very 70s to me. I like it. Again, I definitely wouldn't choose this over a Manx. The next one, 1971 through 1991, the Boss Bug, built in the United States. The One for Fun in 71 Boss Bug. It looks very similar to a Myers Manx. It has a top that comes on it. Looks like there was 2 variations of the Boss Bug. It's an American made and supposedly built all the way up until 91. That's crazy. The next car is unique. It is called the Bounty Hunter, produced from 1969 to 1971. Numbers built is unknown, and the export market was France. This is an American car. It's kind of cool looking. It looks like Volkswagen Beetle headlights from the 60s or 70s. I dig it. It's got the side pods. It's got an interesting, unique front end. Aesthetic-wise, it's like a 5. It's not far from a Manx, and it's got its own thing going on. This one is great. This is an American car, Bugetta. This was built from 1968 to 1970. Approximately 150 built. Export markets was UK. It is just cool looking. These pictures of the ones in here, I like it. I'd give this like a 7. It's just odd. It's got headlights, and then it's got kind of tunnels for the headlights going back. I like the fenders. I like the rear end. It's far from a Manx, but very creative and very kind of flat and minimalist looking. It looks like a race car. Looks, kind of like a Porsche. Is it Bugle or Bugle? I'm gonna say Bugle. Built from 1970 to 1972, and then again from 1980 to 2009. There was 850 Buggles, 20 Bugle plus 2s, and 15 Bugle 2s. The Bugle plus 2 is a 94.5 inch wheelbase, and the Bugle 2 was 82.5 inch wheelbase. So it's kind of all over the place. I kind of like it. It's weird looking. This was made in Great Britain with export markets to America, Saudi Arabia, Malta, Portugal, Cyprus, Jordan, Sardinia, and Switzerland. It's like a 6, maybe a 5. Kind of cool, kind of different. It actually reminds me of the Bugetta. The Bushmaster. This is an ugly buggy. If you have one, I'm sorry. It was built from 1968 to 1970 in the United States. Approximately 200 built. Export markets were none. It's kind of odd looking. I don't like the tail end of it. I don't like the front of it. It's shown in a lot of different configurations. Looks like you could do different hoods. Yeah, it's not special. Just kind of, just plain. This one is called the Bushwhacker. Approximately built 800. This was produced from 1968 to 1970. It's American built. Export markets were Hawaii, Miami, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica. Very curvy. This looks super 70s, super funky. It looks like something from a cartoon. Very not Manx looking. Yeah, it's ugly, but funky and creative. So cool. Okay, so that was episode 1. There's going to be several more episodes as I work through this book and kind of showcase all of the different unique buggy bodies. I find it interesting, and I hope that it's informational so people can see the variety and kind of all of the different makes and manufacturers and kind of use this sort of as a reference. You should just buy the book, but if you don't buy the book, you can watch these videos. A couple of updates. I am currently waiting for a glass company here in Stockton to return or call me about my windshield. I had a big crack in it, so I removed it, and they are cutting me a new piece. They had to order a piece of safety glass, and then they have to cut it and trim it, and then I can put it back on the car. So I'm waiting for that. So I haven't really been driving my Dune Buggy, which kind of sucks. And then Big Bear Bash is coming up, and I am super excited, and I think Brody's going. I really hope so. Only time will tell. He recently got his driver's license, which is very exciting. I hope to get my windshield back on so we can start practicing in the Dune Buggy for him to learn how to drive stick a little bit better. He's still learning. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and there's more to come. And as I make the episode, I put it out, and it takes as long as it takes. Hang in there. See you next time.